Hello, beautiful unicorns. Welcome back. Welcome back from the holidays, from the 2 weeks that we and I took off from the live calls. Let me just readjust my camera a little bit. My little helper, the kitty cat, decided to come, and he usually does the opposite of actual help. And I rearranged my office a little bit so I can't even reach. You can hear me probably, but I can't even reach and put the microphone into the video and in the way that it used to be. I'll rearrange my office a little bit more. I just did it really quickly and just to test it out to see how it is for the first day back. So welcome back. Some of you might be new to the group, so welcome. My name is Yana Kasperczak, and I am your certified professional performance and spiritual awakening core energy coach, and it has been my soul's purpose to help women, to help you get your shit together so you can break free from the mental prison you find yourself in and build a life, a business, and or a career that you are obsessed with. And the way that I help you do that on Mondays is through card readings. And today's card reading is going to be with this deck, the Star Seed Oracle deck, which is not only is it a beautiful one, it's also a powerful one. So some of you already have experienced this card readings with me, so you kind of know what to expect. The rest of you have not. I have a little booklet that the cards come with, and I read from the booklet, but there's always more that comes through, and obviously none of it is prepared. It's all live on the fly, and what you see is what you get. There's no fluff here. Okay, so this one is Karmic Relationships, or Orion Energy, Polarity, Soul Growth, Conflict. So one card reading, let me move this out of the way. One card reading means this is what's coming. This is what's on its way and what you're working towards. So with Karmic Relationships, when it comes to karma, there's a few different beliefs, and there's no right or wrong. There's your beliefs, there's my beliefs, and they make sense to us and they work for us. And belief is actually something that can be changed. Whereas when you know something, that cannot be changed. Simply can't be changed because you know it and you can't unknow it. Whereas a belief, it can be changed. And that's the beauty and the power of beliefs. That if one belief is not serving us, change it. Change it to the one that is serving you, that feels good, that feels right to you, for you. Yeah, I know sometimes it's easier said than done, but it's still possible where you can change, and you are meant to change some of these beliefs that are no longer in alignment, no longer serve you. And also recognize that some of these beliefs that you have are not even yours. They're somebody else's. So when it comes to karma, some people believe that we're born with karma, while others believe that karma is what you gather in this lifetime. Now, I believe both are possible as well, that we carry our previous karma from previous lives, and we get to heal it in this one. And at the same time, I believe that we are born without any karma, that we're bringing basically baggage, and that we create our own karma in this lifetime by either doing good or doing bad, right? This is what it really comes down to. Are you good or doing good, or are you doing bad? And then you collect and gather that type of karma. And that you can work with, right? Okay, so before we go any further, I just want to make sure that my live is on my screen and I can see it, just in case if there are any comments, I can actually respond to them, because if they're not, then it'll always come through on my phone. So let's get into the actual booklet, shall we? The pretty one. Karmic Relationships, Orion Energy, Polarity, Soul Growth, Conflict. Soul growth and conflict are the ones that stand out to be the most, and this is the reason for that is because we can either choose and face change or avoid and ignore it. And one will help us to grow and help our soul, you as a soul, to grow and evolve. And if you don't choose it, you get to stay the same. And sometimes the choice is conscious, and sometimes the choice is unconscious when we are choosing change or not choosing change. And conflict exists within ourselves. If you take whatever it is that you feel conflicted with or about, you take it outside of you, it no longer exists. It exists within you, because conflict is attached to your feelings and emotions, your stories, your triggers, your buttons, your thoughts, your feelings and emotions. They're attached to you. And all of those things are yours. And that's what the conflict that you have is your conflict. And if that conflict that you have with someone else is the conflict that they have with you is going to be different than the conflict you have with them. And they'll have different stories, they'll have different feelings and emotions, they have different viewpoint on what the conflict that you two share is that they're carrying. And that's not to say that your job is to go and express your conflict and get them to understand yours. It's to say that understand that you're different individuals. Yes, we are one. Yes, we are connected, but we're still different. We're still one of a kind. And our job as human beings, especially those of you who are on a journey of self-mastery, is not only to understand yourself, but to understand people in your life. So you actually, at the end of your life, can say, I know who he is, or I know who she is. I truly know who they are, and not assuming that this is who they are. And also, I know who I am, despite what everybody else is telling me and their version of me that they see and they experience. So, the reading. The constellation Orion is thought by many to have been a place of great polarity and eventual unity. Some believe that many star seeds who were part of this cosmic history are in, are incarnate on Earth now and are playing out karmic relationships from Orion times. Perhaps you're one of them. Polarity causes conflict and highlights separation. However, because of this, conflict can also result in unity and growth, because you get to learn from each other. You get to learn about who this person is, what their beliefs are, what their viewpoints are, what their perspectives are, how they see and interpret the world, and you get to learn from their experiences. You know, it's what has helped me tremendously, and I say tremendously, when it comes to conflict with human beings, is this. Picturing every person as a walking and talking book, as an audible book. Okay? And I can choose which book I want to read because it benefits me. I'm not going to read a book that's not going to benefit me. I'm not going to waste my time and my energy reading a book that I don't want to read, that I don't want to have around, that I don't even want to have in my house. So when it comes to people, each person is a walking and talking book. A book is a decade or 2 decades of someone's life put into words. That's what a book is. Now, with a human, you're not reading it physically, but you're reading it through your ears. It's an audible book, and you get to read it every time you interact with that human. You can choose to have a conflict with the book, but it's just a walking and talking book that has its own thoughts, opinions, and experiences. And all it's trying to do is share them with you because it sees that you could value from it or not. And you get to choose if you want that book or not. And if you don't, there's plenty of books in the library that you can go and choose from and read that are going to benefit you. And that also doesn't mean that you go and you cancel all these relationships that you're working on. It means that if you have something in your life, if you have a book in your library, that there's a reason why it's there. You can read it, you can go through it, you can dive deep, you can maybe skip a few chapters, look into it, have a conversation with that book, and then decide. And sometimes we might be very quick to jump to a decision or conclusion that we don't need that book because this book is too challenging, it's too hard, it's triggering me a lot. And the reason why it's triggering you a lot is because you got a lot more healing to do. And often we come to a place like, oh, it's great. I got everything under control. I got my shit together. I've worked on myself. I am the best version of myself. And then here comes in the trigger and triggers you. And you're like, shit, now I got more work to do. How dare you come in here and tell me that I have more work to do? Go away. I don't want you here. But those are the people that are actually brave enough to tell you and point out where and how you got more work to do. And what you do with that information is entirely up to you. So, too many misunderstandings are caused when we don't open our hearts and minds and see things from a different point of view. When we go into reactive second-guessing mode, instead of gathering the courage to open our heart, we should admit that we may have reacted because of our own woundings and then find mutual ground. So, this kind of wraps up what I was talking about, is that too often we might end a relationship or end a conversation before we actually even allow the other side to speak and this is the hardest part, and allow ourselves to hear and listen and understand what is being said to us and who this person is and how they're showing up for us through their words and how they're expressing themselves. What people say says more about them than about you. So when people are talking and expressing their hurts and their pains, they're telling you their hurts and their pains that helps you to understand more of who they are. If you pay attention, you can almost even hear the traumas that have created those pains within them. You can see that hurting inner child within that person and not take things personally, because it is not really about you. Yes, you might be triggering them, or yes, they might be triggering you, but it's not about them. It's about the choice that they don't want to make when it comes to change and growth and evolution to become a better version of themselves. That when a button is pushed, it becomes one of these defensive and protective mechanisms that comes up, and the spikes come up where we all want to be seen and heard, but not our best version of ourselves, not that version of ourselves that they're seeing, that we're trying to hide. Where were we? Okay. We're all innocent children looking to be seen, understood, and cherished. It's much harder to grow closer through conflict than it is to grow further apart. It is much harder to grow closer through conflict than it is to grow further apart. And yet, that's the invitation of conflict. It's easy to react and take things personally. It's more challenging to see the innocence of all involved and find a way to grow closer through the conflict. It's through the relationships that we grow the most. You want a relationship where you are being challenged to grow, because the other person knows that you're capable of more than what you are doing or what you're putting forth and what you're saying. And they will challenge you in those areas because they know you. They understand you. And you can either run from it or you can choose to grow through it. And in the end, that relationship will become stronger because you will truly get to know each other. When someone is pointing something out in you and you are triggered, let's say someone says you're too sensitive, or you're too dramatic, you're a drama queen, you're too emotional, you can have a conversation with them about it. Maybe not right away, but eventually you'll get to a point where you'll be able to have a conversation right away because you're retraining yourself on how to react while you're learning how to respond. And you can have a conversation and ask them questions about what is it about your actions and behavior that is causing them to see and interpret you as being too sensitive, if you're not being, or maybe you are. And if you are, then go within and understand your triggers, understand your traumas, understand your buttons. And when you start to understand them, that's when you become more aware of what choices you have in front of you, what you can do about them, that do not involve running away and not dealing with it and not putting it off to do tomorrow. You're triggered today, deal with it today, because tomorrow it's only going to be worse. It's going to be worse and worse and worse. And if there needs to be a conversation, have a conversation. Sometimes it might be the other person needs to learn to approach you and have a conversation with you in a healthier manner, because there's only so much healing you can do if the other person is not respecting your boundaries that you have set of, do not talk to me this way, do not use these words because they're not necessary. There's a healthier way to communicate. This is not how you would talk in public. This is not what you would say, right? This is not how you would like to be spoken to. So speak to me in the way that you would like me, that you like me to speak to you. And sometimes it might be you that is the root cause, that is triggering something in the other person. And you got to take ownership of that and not blame everything and everyone around you and in your life. Hey Kitty, how are you doing, beautiful? And when you start taking ownership of all these things that you can't take ownership of, you will notice your confidence grow and flourish as well, because you get to know yourself and you get to take charge of what's wrong and what's right in your life. And because when you blame others, what you're doing is you're really saying that I have no choice, I don't have control over this. And in some cases, yes, it might be the reality, while in other cases, well, maybe you don't have control of the whole entire experience or the whole entire challenge, but what part of it do you have control over? Or do you have a say in? And focus on that part, not the whole entire thing, but your part. How did you add or contribute to this conflict? What role did you play? And take ownership of that. It's easy to react and take things personally. It's more challenging to see the innocence of all involved and find a way to grow closer through the conflict. It's through relationships that we grow the most. How can you soften your heart and drop your defenses enough to see things from a different point of view? So, what can you do that will help you to see and hear and understand what the other person is trying to tell you, and not take it personally and not be triggered by it? Perhaps it might be seeing them as a child speaking to a child, because we're all children. We all have that hurting child within us all that is just wanting to be seen, loved, cherished, and appreciated and admired. All of us do. The child that is a helpful child, trying to help the person they care about because they see things differently than the person that is in it. And when someone points things out, we can either get triggered by it or we can see it as an opportunity. The choice is yours. For now, it might be unconscious where you are reacting, but if you want to tap into the conscious choice, learn to respond and learn to change the way that you respond in a healthy way, and then little by little, that will become the way that you react. It will become your natural way of reacting to things, or not reacting or responding at all. Not every conversation that we're invited to, not every war or battle we're invited to, we need to accept and say yes. And just walk away and say quietly to ourselves, no thank you. Or, not today, Satan. Not today. That one is my favorite. How can you see the innocence of all involved? How can you learn to see the similarities rather than the differences? Starseed Soul Inquiry. Which relationships do you find the most challenging in your life right now? Which relationships do you find to be the most challenging? How can you see things from a different perspective? Right now, you have your perspective. And maybe you have that person's perspective. But what about another perspective? What about another one? What about another one? Another one? Another one? How many other perspectives can you look at this situation or at this conflict through? How are you being called to allow growth through conflict? Again, how are you being called to allow growth through conflict? I know I already mentioned a few, but I want to hear from you. And yeah, that's the last part of the reading. So I would love to hear if you're open and comfortable and brave enough to share the answers to these questions. Question number 1, which relationships do you find the most challenging? That one you don't necessarily have to answer. If you don't want to, that can be private. Question number 2, how can you see things from a different perspective? Maybe even add, what perspective would that be, or whose perspective would it be? Sometimes it helps if you have a teacher or a coach or a mentor that you are working with, and mentors actually don't even need to be physically or verbally connected with you, where you have a conversation with them. They can be just someone that you watch, you listen to, and they don't even have to be alive, to be quite honest. So how would they perceive this? What would their perspective be? And answer from their point of view. And the last question is, how are you being called to allow growth through conflict? Through this particular conflict, perhaps. So that's all that I wanted to share for today and talk about on today's card reading with myself, Yana Kasperczak, that I do live in this group at 11:45 every Monday. Healed Unicorn Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women is the group, in case you're listening to this elsewhere. And just in case you aren't aware and you enjoy my Get Your Shit Together weekly live guidance that I do on Thursdays at 11:45, I've just moved it to my personal page. So it's not going to be in the group anymore. It's now moved onto my personal page, and that's where you can find all of my live videos on this stream of Get Your Shit Together weekly live guidance with myself, Yana Kasperczak, same time on Thursdays at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time. So looking forward to seeing more of you on this live in the group, the card reading, and maybe I'll see some of you tomorrow in the Sacred Circle, which is off Facebook, on Zoom, private, not shared anywhere, where I lead you in meditation, and then we do a burn ceremony where you embrace more of who you know and who you're ready to be. And the meditation helps and guides you into the burn to help you identify what part of you are ready to tap into and own and embrace. And until we see each other next time, have an amazing the rest of your day or week, and Happy New Year, if we haven't already wished that to you, or if I haven't wished it to you. Until next time, bye.